So first week we take on Sergio, coach of the Staller team. His logo's got like a Chansey and a Comfy in it. I don't have my week 1 and week 2 notes written down. I actually deleted them on accident, so apologies for that. It's gonna be really scuffed team 1 and team 2 battles, kind of explaining it, breaking it down. But his team, he did make transactions, but I'm gonna look over his team real quick so you guys get a general idea. I don't think I'm going to put it on the screen, but I'll probably put it in post-editing, because this might go up on YouTube as well. It depends. He has a Mew, Tangrowth, Chansey, Kyurem with Z-moves, Comfy, Liepard, Pukamuku, Mega Venusaur, Scizor, Shelgon, Vivian, and Shiinotic. Oh my god, I am so dying. That was his team. He did make transactions later on, but that was the team I went up against. But week 1, we are facing Stally team Sergio. I just went over his team. It's really Stally. It's probably the second most Stalliest team. Manaphy. I originally went with Manaphy because it has more options, while with Excadrill, it's either like, Steel EMZ or Ground EMZ. But there's that. Manaphy does have the nice ability because it's only at 100 special attack, but if you're at +3, and you have to go up against some really fat wall, you can at least blow it back with the Z move. So I can respect that decision of Manaphy. But for our first game, we brought Salazzle, Excadrill, Klefki, Mega Glade, Articuno, and Manaphy. I do not have my notes, so I'm going to try my best to explain my breakdown of the team. We have Salazzle here with Corrosion, Black Sludge, 24 in Spatak, Modest Nature, 236 speed, 248 HP, Toxic Taunt, Flamethrower, Sludge Wave. I wanted to try out this annoying set. Taunt really shuts down a lot of stall teams, especially this one. It stops the Mega Venusaur from really going ham with Leech Seed and being an extra nuisance. This actually just straight up like kind of walls Venusaur outside of Earthquake, which could be a thing. But there's that. What else does it beat here? Comfey. It beats Comfey without HP ground. I do have to be careful with HP ground, but it's kind of like a weird hidden power to bring. It completely shuts down the Pukamuku, because that thing gets whole. Pukamuku is one of those mons, dude. If you don't prepare for it, it's a dangerous threat. But you see, I have Mold Breaker, Excadrill, spoiler alert here, and just taunt on Salazzle. That means Pukamuku ain't doing anything. It also stops Scizor from becoming a really big problem as well, because Scizor does have an offensive presence. At least with this stall team, he could run like an offensive Mew or an offensive Scizor and Kyurem as well, but Kyurem's kind of, in my opinion. So that's kind of what Salazzle's here for. This week, for week 1, we brought Excadrill as our win con. We have leftovers with 188 attack, 160 speed, Adamant Nature, those are the EVs. 160 allows me to take a Seismic Toss behind a substitute from Chansey. Excadrill's goal is to set up on Chansey, Pukamuku, because Mold Breaker goes through unaware. That's why Mold Breaker is awesome. And this can kind of just sweep his team, because Iron Head Earthquake was all I really needed. Nothing really takes 2 hits after a Swords Dance. So that was kind of the goal for Excadrill. Really big win con. Tangrowth was the only thing, but Salazzle kind of walls that thing. Again, barring Earthquake, my god. And my team overall deals with Tangrowth pretty well, especially like Articuno here and Salazzle. And even Excadrill +2, like I can live a hit from Tangrowth, so it's not that big of a deal. Next up, we got Klefki. Klefki is running max HP at 196 Spadef with a Careful Nature, 64 in speed. I don't remember what the speed was for. But Spikes, I want to try out Spikes. I think Spikes is an underrated hazard. I say underrated, like there's so many. There's only like 3 or 4. But I like Spikes because it does 12% with only 1 Spike up. I know it doesn't affect flying types, but his flying types didn't exist except for Vivian, but Vivian literally gets bodied by everything on my team, so that thing wasn't coming. And just a nice chip damage to ensure that Excadrill can have an easier job at sweeping. Magnet Rise for Earthquake users, Kyurem particularly, because outside of Earth Power, Kyurem cannot touch Klefki. Toxic, because Toxic is always nice, and Mew cannot synchronize that back. And Play Rough for damage, because I don't really need to worry about Venusaur too much, so I went with Play Rough for the Shelgon or the Liepard. I don't remember who I went. I went Play Rough for something over Flash Cannon. I don't remember why, but that's why I did it. Oh my god. My voice is in pain right now. Next up, we have Mega Glade. Mega Glade, the absolute best mon ever. We have max attack, 224 speed with the Jolly Nature, and 32 in HP with 4 attacks. Knockoff's really nice because nothing really wants to take it outside of Mega Venusaur, and Mega Venusaur doesn't want to take a Psycho Cut. So whenever my Mega Gallade can beat my opponent's Megas, I'm generally going to run Knockoff because Knockoff is such a good move just to get rid of items and all. And Fire Punch was for the Tangrowth, I'm assuming, and the Scizor. That's what it was for. Scizor was a little threatening. Not that much, just a little bit. Offensively, I can deal with it fine, but defensively, it was a little bit of a problem. Next up, we got Articuno. Articuno is running Ice Beam, U-Turn, Haze, Roost, 248 HP, 136 Spadef, 124 Speed. And a modest nature. I'm going to be drinking a lot of water, guys. I apologize. Gotta stay healthy, though. This was for something. This was for something. I don't remember what the speed was for, to be completely honest, but I think it was no speed Comfey. Maybe? I really don't remember. Or no speed Kyurem. I honestly don't remember what the speed was for. But the Spadef was nice for like his Mew and all of his other special attackers. I can take hits pretty well. And I believe his rockers weren't great. He has Mew as a rocker, and he had Chansey as a rocker, and Mew, I think, was it. Yeah, Mew and Chansey are the only ones that get rocks. And Chansey gets a setup bait for Excadrill, and Mew is walled by Klefki, and Excadrill could set up on it possibly. And I could U-turn out on it as well. So even though Mew as a rocker could be a little bit annoying, because that was the only rocker I was really worried about, and that would force him into more of a defensive role, so that's why I wasn't really worried about that. And lastly, we have Manaphy. Manaphy's got Tail Glow 3 attacks, as I just mentioned a few minutes ago in the little draft analysis I did there. Tail Glow, Surf, Ice Beam, Psychic with a Psyche MZ, plus 3 Psyche MZ, nukes Mega Venusaur. Chansey literally exists, but again, if I can bait out that Chansey, Excadrill is just free setup bait all day of the week. I don't see him running Flamethrower, and even if he does, it's not going to be doing a crazy ton because it's a Chansey. So that is our Week 1 team builder. A little scuffy, and now let me see if I can get this to work. So this was the battle. I already went over my team, obviously. He brought Chansey, Comfey, Mega Venusaur, Pyukumuku, oh my lord, Kyurem, and Scizor. Can we get some hype for Pyukumuku? That thing is interesting to say the least. So yeah, okay. So my goal here basically was to set up on Chansey with Excadrill or Comfey at this point. He had a lot of setup targets. Chansey, Comfey, and Pyukumuku were all set up targets, as well as Venusaur to an extent. But if Venusaur had Earthquake, then it could be a little bit scary. But that was the goal for this game, or if Chansey's gone, the Manaphy kind of just goes in on his team. But I am going to need Manaphy for that Scizor, as Scizor is looking a little bit threatening if it's like a really offensive Scizor. So there's that. I haven't watched this battle in like 2 months, so we're going to learn together, guys, of how we did this. And I apologize for no like background music. I didn't know. Well, I knew how to get it figured out, but I didn't really feel like going through all the effort. So I apologize for that. But we're gonna get into this game. I'm gonna put it on slow. I'm gonna pause it since we're on a stream. So yeah, I lead off with Articuno here, so I could U-turn out on something. As he leads off with Chansey, and I'm thinking right here. Okay, I'm just gonna like fly this on this point. I'm stuttering a lot. I know I U-turn out here. This could be rocks, and I'm going to just U-turn, and I think, do I go into Excadrill just turn 1? I do go into Excadrill turn 1. So I just go into Excadrill turn 1 as he does set up. He goes for a Toxic, which is really awesome. Now, I can just set up a free sub and just SD turn, like, 2. And that's pretty cool because nothing's really going to be stopping Excadrill too much. You don't have to get rid of a bunch of mons or have, like, a Scarf Kyurem or something like that. Or not Scarf, a really, really offensive, speedy Kyurem, which could be a thing, but if I'm behind a sub, then it won't really matter too much. And I can switch out into Articuno. Articuno is a switch in, that's right. So here I'm just going to set up a substitute, as I know his Seismic Toss won't break. And now this is good. He goes into Venusaur. It could be better. It could have went into like something else. But, you know, whatever. I set up an SD, as he is going to reveal the Giga Drain here. It does a decent chunk, but not a decent chunk. Like it breaks my sub, basically. So he's got a little bit of offense. I don't remember the calc, to be completely honest, but, you know, whatever. Here, we're at +2. Earthquake's going to do a load of damage to this thing. As I'm going to fire off an Earthquake, I can live any hit. It does 65%, and he reveals the Earthquake himself. It does a lot of damage. That did kind of throw me off because he used a Giga Drain initially, so that was really smart on Sergio's part to hide that Earthquake, because I was under the impression that he didn't have Earthquake and he just had a Giga Drain to touch me, and I was fine with taking a Giga Drain. But luckily, he does not really have a good switch into Earthquake at this point, so I'm going to click Earthquake again here as I get a little bit back from leftovers. Actually, I click Iron Head. Regardless, it knocks it out. I don't remember why I clicked that exactly. I think Iron Head was to catch the Kyurem, because I think a +2 Earthquake just wasn't knocking it out. But he just sacks the Venusaur, which is really, really nice, as he is going to go into Kyurem, and this is telling me he is definitely faster than me. So I'm going to switch out. I still have a lot of use for Excadrill, as I go to Articuno, as he does have a sub, so he is going to be a like sub Roost set. Sub Roost, Ice Beam, Earth Power most likely, and that's fine. Articuno can take those hits for days, and I can Ice Beam him out or something like that, or get in Glade once his sub's broken or something like that. Glade can even take a hit, so it doesn't really matter too much. But I forget what I do. I take the Ice Beam. He does crit me. It doesn't really matter too much. As I Ice Beam back, it does break the sub, luckily. I mean, if he's going to be a fast Kyurem, then it's definitely going to break a sub. Here, I decide to Roost up to gain health back so I can land for later. Use Articuno again for later. Manaphy is here to switch into Scizor. As that damage there shows that he is banded Scizor, 22% on my max HP. Scizor is just... Oh, my max HP Manaphy is just a lot of damage. But the good thing is his main switch into Manaphy is Chansey at this point. As I fire off a Surf on this Scizor as Chansey came in. And again, every time this is going to be free Excadrill bait, but I don't want to switch it in because I'm at 38%, as he does get up his rocks here, which is kind of unfortunate, but I am going to U-turn. I'm going to go into Glade now, because again, I don't want to switch into a Seismic Toss, because then I couldn't be able to get a sub up. As here, I can just fire off a knockoff, I believe, because his Venusaur is gone. It knocks off Pyukumuku, and now this thing is Excadrill bait even more, because he doesn't have any attacks for this thing. As rocks ain't going to do much. Mold Breaker does go through unaware, so that's really useful, so I can set up all over it. He does turn me into Water types, which does reduce the damage from Iron Head and Earthquake. I'm going to keep that in mind for a little bit later, as I am going to set up a substitute on this thing, as this thing cannot touch me. He is going to recover up, but it doesn't matter, because now I just get free SDs up for days. I'm going to get up one here, as he's going to stay in and just click counter, so I'm fine with this. I'm going to click Earthquake first. Here, I don't keep setting up, because if he is like for the off chance inwards out, I don't want to just straight up die to that. So I decided to click Earthquake first, test the waters out a bit, see how much it was doing. So here I'm going to fire off another Earthquake. It's going to do 73% with my +4 attack. I'm getting a lot of leftovers back too, as he is going to go into Kyurem here, as I am going to just set up another substitute. There's nothing wrong in doing it, as whatever switches in doesn't really want to take a hit, as he is going to set up a sub on Kyurem, but I'm going to just spam Iron Head to the point where it's not going to matter, as something is dying here at this point, as he decides to just sack off the Kyurem, as Iron Head is going to take out the Kyurem. So we are a +4 Excadrill at 41%, with Comfey, a Chansey, a Pyukumuku, and a Scizor left. Due to my calc to Bullet Punch, even banded, guarantee I kill this thing. I live the hit. So he goes for the Bullet Punch, and I live the hit. And I go for Earthquake, and Scizor just drops. And now that's fantastic. Pyukumuku can't touch Excadrill. Chansey can't touch it if I get a free switch in on it. And Comfey can, barely, if it's got HP, Fire, or Ground, which is the only thing I'm really worried about. Now, at this point, he does send out Comfey, and I do forget that I'm a Water type. At this point, I calced Draining Kiss. It was doing like 13 to 15, unless he was like Specs. Then it probably would kill, but Specs Comfey is kind of weird. 13 to 15%, so I'm under the impression that I can live the Draining Kiss. And, I mean, if he's got the HP Fire, then so be it, whatever. As he goes for it, and I die, and I was really curious. I was really, like, wondering how I died to that. And then I realized I was a Water type, and I'm like, oh, that really sucks. So, you know, whatever. We're up 5-3. We have a great matchup right now. As Salazzle walls the Pyukumuku. If he doesn't have HP Ground, I wall the Comfey. And Chansey could be a problem, but I have a Toxic to deal with it, or Taunt and Toxic. If I can make sure that thing doesn't recover up, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. I still have Mega Glade in the back. I still have Klefki in the back, who can take care of Chansey pretty well. But here I forget. I go for Sludge Wave just to see how much damage I'm going to do first. That's 56. As he does fire off the Seeds, so that tells me he does not have the HP Ground, which is really great. He does have Synthesis, which is kind of annoying. He's like that really annoying Draining Kiss Leech Sheet Synthesis. I'm assuming that last move is Aromatherapy. So this turn, I believe I taunt to make sure he doesn't get that aromatherapy off, as I am correct. He does have it. So this thing cannot touch me as long as I get this leech sheet off me. I am going to switch out because this thing is taunted. He is going to go into Chansey. And I think at this point, I'm going to start setting up spikes. I toxic this thing first. But then I'm going to start setting up spikes because that limits the amount of times Chansey can switch into Salazzle. And Salazzle, like, destroys the other two. And if Chansey's low enough, I can knock it out with... I can taunt it. So there's that. This Pyukumuku is going to recover up, but it is fine. He is on Toxic, and I'm just going to keep setting up spikes here. It's going to do 25% if I can get one more layer up, which I am going to end up getting up my last layer up here. As he does go into Comfey, it does 17%. It is great. Jed, thank you for tweeting out the stream. I highly appreciate that, man. I go into Salazzle here. I'm hoping he doesn't click Leech Seed, but he just goes for the aromatherapy, which is really good. I can taunt, even if the Chansey does come in, Chansey's going to be taking 25%, and that's just critical damage, as he does bring in the Chansey, and this allows Chansey to not recover up, as I can go into something else now to take on this Chansey, as I do go into the Articuno. Articuno doesn't really do much in this game anymore, so I decided I could either sack this off, or I could use this as a U-turn switch, as I am going to U-turn out and go into Gallade. Now, this thing is spamming Seismic Toss, so my Gallade is getting worn down rather quickly, so that is a little scary. He is going to go into Pyukumuku, take that extra chip, as I do fire off a knockoff. I forgot this thing's leftovers was already knocked off, but it's not that big of a deal. This is just a free switching back in the Klefki as he goes for the recover, which is fine. I believe I just fire off another Toxic here. Yeah, that's what I do, because the spikes plus Toxic just pressures his team a lot. And now here I can just go right into Salazzle, as he's going to probably go for Toxic or something like that, as he goes back into Comfey, which is good because Salazzle deals with it. And now, at this point in the battle, let's see. Chansey's at 40%. Pyukumuku can't touch Salazzle, and Comfey can't really touch Salazzle if I taunt it. 40 minus 25, quick math, is 15%. If I can taunt it, I can take one S-Toss and Sludge Wave it, and that thing should be down. So at this point, I have the game wrapped up. He's going to go for Synthesis as I go for the Toxic. I should have went for the taunt there in reality, but, you know, whatever. Here, I believe I go for the taunt, as I do go for the taunt. Now, this Chansey, even though it does, you'll see here in a second, it does live this Sludge Wave, which it's amazing. But I do live the Seismic Toss on 9, and I can just Sludge Wave again, and this Chansey is knocked out, and at this point, I just win the game, because Draining Kiss isn't doing much, and Pyukumuku can't touch me. So, yeah, you'll see there, it does 5%. I go for the taunt, just to make sure Leech Seed doesn't do his thing there. And I think at this point, he just forfeits the game. So, yeah, we won our first game. We won our first game 5-0 against Sergio, so I thought that was really impressive. I think Salazzle did a really good job here. I think Salazzle just had a good matchup. I think my team does really good against stall overall. I have a lot of good stall breakers or wall breakers. So I think in the long scheme of things, I just had a really good matchup here overall. So we are going to move up to a 1-0 record. Next up, we have Trey Myers, as I just said. Now, his team, this battle is good. I'm letting you guys know right now, this battle was really, really good. If I had to recommend any battles of the 4 that I am going over today, this is the best one, in my opinion. His team consists of... Let's see. I have it here somewhere. I think he made transactions, so this team might not be exact. His team is Tapu Koko, Hawlucha... Coco Lucha, right? Nidoking, Roserade, Araquanid, Kangaskhan, Sandslash, which I know he didn't have, Megaladios, Heatran, Crocodile, Jellicent, and Armaldo, Tapu Koko Z-Moves, and Armaldo Z-Moves. I believe he had like Kamala or something like that instead of Sandslash. He had a different tier 6, that's all I remember. He's got Coco, Hawlucha, really annoying, and he's got Megaladios, but we're going to work around it. This wasn't an easy matchup. I think Trey had a really good matchup. Not Trey had a good matchup. Trey had a really good team. But the matchup was pretty even. I think I'd give it to him a bit. He actually got rid of... Yeah, he did have Kamala. Damn, I was right. So, Team Ironbrigging is Hippowdon, Mega Gallade, Articuno, Klefki, Excadrill, and Manaphy. This is a really fun team. I really, really enjoyed using this team. I do not have the notes for this as well, but I do have the notes for my next game. So, my next Week 3 game, I'll have actually notes. So, instead of going all over the place like I'm talking right now, I'll I'll actually have something to go off of. But first off, we have Hippowdon. Hippowdon is rocking the Smooth Rock, 248 HP, 220 defense, 40 speed, with an impish nature. Earthquake, Whirlwind, Slack Off, Toxic. This is walled by Latios, but I can Toxic it. And if he's got sub on Latios, then he's going to have 4 moveslot syndrome, so that's pretty cool. My goal for this game, essentially, I had 2 goals, sort of. I had either set up the sand and sweep with Excadrill, spoiler, I have Sandrush Excadrill, or get Gallade in and endgame and just clean up with the Gallade. I wasn't sure which route I wanted to take because Excadrill is really good to sweep his team, but Excadrill is also one of the best defensive counters to Tapu Koko. So, depending on if Tapu Koko got out of hand, that's how I was going to use Excadrill in this game. So, Hippowdon's going to set up Sand and Toxic and Whirlwind things around. I had Whirlwind to take a hit from Hawlucha, and if he has an extra mon yet left, I can just Whirlwind that thing out, and it's no longer a problem. So that was that. Or I can just Toxic it if it is the last mon. So that was... And it also was... Crook. It was Crook as well. That was the other mon it was. And Kamala, even though Kamala wasn't... I didn't think Kamala was going to come. Next up, we got Mega Gallade. Mega Gallade is running 4 attacks again. Zen Headbutt, Drain Punch, Thunder Punch, and Shadow Sneak. A 252 attack with a Adamant Nature, 224 speed, and 32 in HP. Now his team, he had a few fast mons. He had Mega Latios and Tapu Koko. Now, Gallade doesn't stay in on Tapu Koko any sort of day of the week, but Tapu Koko doesn't really want to switch in on Mega Gallade, especially an adamant one. So this thing hits really, really hard. It does like 38% like Drain Punch or something like that. So that's just insane right there. And Mega Latios, while I can't really do too much to it, if it is a little bit low, Shadow Sneak does pick it off pretty nicely. So that's why I have Shadow Sneak. I think the priority was really important this week because some of my rolls, I don't remember which particular ones, were just missing out on kills. And if Tapu Koko goes low, Shadow Sneak cleans it up, Latios cleans it up, and if anything else is really low in his team outside of like Crook or whatever, Shadow Sneak picks it off, and I'm faster than Crook anyway, so it's not a big deal. I remember his bulky waters being really annoying in prep, so Thunder Punch I decided to throw up on there because Araquanid's defense is kind of trash. Its Bedef's good, but its defense is kind of trash, so that's why I decided to run Thunder Punch on that. Next up, we got Articuno. We got Choice Scarf Articuno with max speed, max special attack. I remember Jed was just complaining on Twitter like 2 hours ago that he hated 252 sets, but we're bringing a 252 set on here, at least on the ladder, with U-Turn, Ice Beam, Freeze Dry, and Hidden Power Ground. Hidden Power Ground for that Heat Ran for the off chance, but I'm probably going to be U-Turning most times around. Ice Spam against his team is completely free because Freeze Dry, Freeze Dry hits Chelsea and Araquanid pretty well. And Ice Beam's just good to spam against his team. Latios doesn't want to switch in. And since I'm Scarf, I outspeed all those mons too. So this thing, if Mega Gallade has trouble sweeping, cleaning up, Articuno can, even though if he does get up rocks, it would be a little bit annoying. I believe, what are his rockers? His rockers weren't great either. He had Crocodile, Nidoking, and Armaldo, and none of them really want to take Ice Beam. So that's why I decided to do that. But the speed was to make sure I could outspeed Nidoking, because Nidoking was annoying. So there's that. Next up, we got Annoyance here. Klefki with max HP, 222 defense with a bold nature, 40 in speed. This was speed creeping a no speed base 80, which I don't remember. Or no, it wasn't. Was it? I don't remember, guys. Spikes again. Spike stack is really cool. T-Wave to cripple the Latios because I thought that would be a little more beneficial in the end. Defog to get rid of rocks, so Articuno does have a little more time coming in and out. And Dazzling Gleam because Fairy coverage was better than Steel coverage, and nothing really wants to take a Dazzling Gleam outside of Heat Ran. Heat Ran was a little bit of a problem for my team as well, but I'll get to my counter up here in a second here. But we got Excadrill coming up next, Swords Dance, and 3 attacks with Earthquake, Iron Head, Rock Slide with a Guava Berry. I really wanted to run a Z move, but again, I have Manaphy as my Z captain. But whatever, I decided to put Rock Slide on there instead of X-Scissor because Iron Head was doing the job for Latios. I can take any hit from Latios at full health, so that's not a big problem. And if I do get knocked down to 25% or less, I go back up to 75 with the Guava Berry. I don't really use these pinch berries too much, but I do like them when I do use them, so that's pretty nice. But again, this is also my Tapu Koko switch in, so depending on how out of hand Tapu Koko becomes, it might become more of a defensive mon, but the overall goal is to make it an offensive threat. And lastly, you got a defensive Manaphy. We got our bulky Manaphy with Aqua Ring, Surf, Shadow Ball, Toxic. max HP, 192 Timid Nature, and 68 in Spatak. Aqua Ring is nice tech to make sure my leftovers are still giving me back if I get burned. I hope I get burned instead of toxic poisoning, because that's really annoying. This is here to take on his Bulky Waters and his Heat Ran. Now, in week 1, he brought a Nature Power Electric Terrain Heat Ran. I was scared of that. I was really scared of that in this battle. I ain't gonna lie about it. So, I had to be really, really careful. I had to scout out for that. But Surf does a lot to it, and Shadow Ball deals with Jellicent pretty well, and Toxic just deals with the Araquanid. Leech Life isn't doing too much unless it's banded, and if he bans himself in the Leech Life, I can just go out into like anything else. So that is the team. My voice is really shot. I keep complaining about it. I apologize. But that was our week 2 team builder. We're gonna go over to our next slide. Okay, so he brought the Tapu Koko, the Araquanid, the Latios, the Hawlucha, Jellicent, and Heatran. So Manaphy right off the bat is very important in this game to wall the Heatran and to wall the his water types, which essentially gives Tapu Koko a free switch in. So that kind of sucks. You know, Tapu Koko doesn't really want to take a Surf, even though, so that's kind of cool. And a Hawlucha's not going to be coming into a late game anyway. Looking at this team, what else do I notice? Excadrill's better off as a wall for Tapu Koko, because Araquanid at full can live a +2 Rock Slide, I think, if it's defensive. And Jellicent can wall Excadrill pretty well as well. So that's kind of what the looks I was looking at here. I forget what I lead with, so we're going to go into this game. I lead with Articuno, that's right. I'm Choice Scarf. A Choice Scarf U-turn is always reliable for the most part. For the really off chance he was Scarf Tapu Koko, I didn't think he would be, as he leads with Tapu Koko. I'm not going to click U-turn. I'm just going to straight up switch out. I'm not going to just show him that I'm Scarf right away, even though I do kind of reveal it throughout the battle. I don't want to tell him turn 1 that I'm Scarf, especially if he is Scarf in himself. And I already have a good switch in an Excadrill. So immediately I am going to go into Excadrill. He's probably going to U-turn, but it's okay. I don't really mind if he U-turns out into a favorable matchup, as he does. And he is going to go into the Jellicent, and that is going to drag out my Manaphy turn 2. That kind of sucks, as he is going to fire off a Scald. I'm hoping this burns me. And it actually does. And that's great, because now I don't have to worry about getting Toxic stalled by anything, as he is going to go into Araquanid, and that is fine. I fire off a Toxic, and this is the most ideal situation, because Manaphy is my switch into Araquanid, so going into Araquanid wasn't going to help him out whatsoever. And since I got that Toxic off, I can just set up an Aqua Ring, to be honest, and just start using moves, clicking buttons. So I'm not gaining anything right now, but the Aqua Ring will assure me that I'm going to gain HP back, as he is going to fire off a Leech Life. This shows that he is not banded, I can tell you that. I don't think he was offensive either, but I'm in a pretty winning battle right now, as I'm going to fire off a Surf, expecting the Tapu Koko to come in, as it does 44%, and that is really nice damage, as I don't have to really, like, chipping things down for putting things like Articuno and Gallade in range for this thing is really nice. So that's cool. I am going to get out of here because I do need this Manaphy for a lot of different reasons. I'm going to go back in Excadrill. It's my switch in every time. He is going to use for Grass Knot. Doesn't do too much. And now here I can fire off an Iron Hand, expecting him to go into the Latios, and that does 54%. That was just awesome to see how much damage that's going to do. Yeah, if I fire off Earthquake, I didn't want to give that Latios a free switch in, so that's why I decided to do it. So there's that. By the way, guys, I am going to take a small break after this battle, because we'll be halfway through the stream. So just going to let you guys know if you guys want to go get a snack or whatever, a drink. If you guys already have that, it's cool. It'll be like a 5-minute break, just to give my voice a rest. So I'll let you guys know about that. I don't remember what I do here. I switch out in the Clef Key, because it's a good Latios switch in. I believe he does predict this and go for the Earthquake. That was a good play on his part. Earthquake was a no drawback play, because I had Excadrill in. So, like, what are you going to click on Excadrill? Earthquake. So I should have saw that coming, but, you know, whatever. It's not the worst thing in the world. It does less than half, which is the important news here. As here, I believe I fire off a Dazzling Gleam. Yeah, he goes into Heat Ran, because I had a feeling. Oh, no. I pull a double and go into Articuno. Sorry if you can hear that in the background. I went to Articuno because I could take any hit from Latios, and he wanted to fire off another Earthquake, which is the only move that does some significant damage to the Clef Key. I can just come in for free and fire off a free U-turn. So that's why I decided to do that. And he goes in the Heat Ran, which is really good, because now I can just U-turn out. And it's not going to do much, but it pops us the balloon. And that's going to be huge for Excadrill, because if Excadrill is like all set up and ready, and he brings in an Air Balloon Heat Ran, I just kind of like lose my sweep right there. So doing this was really nice. I can freely U-turn on this thing, go back in the Manaphy, and His balloon pops. Nature power is not a thing because the terrain's not up. He goes for lava plume. Doesn't do too much. It's another defensive heat ran, I think. I really don't remember. As I'm going to fire off a surf, I think, just to do some nice chip. Araquanid does not get reliable recovery. I am talking like a madman right now. And again, Araquanid against Manaphy, I'm totally okay with this, as I can fire off my Aqua Ring to get extra chip damage back. He's going to Leech Life to try and get some damage back, some health back. As he's going to get chipped down by Toxic here. As he goes into Jellicent, he's at full health, so I don't mind that he came in on the Water Absorb. And now I can just fire off a Toxic here. Nothing wants to take it. If it goes back into Araquanid, it's just rinse and repeat. So his Jellicent, both his water types are poisoned, and that is really nice because these are threats. They're threats. I don't really have good switch-ins to them outside of Manaphy. So having them both on a timer allows them just not to stay in and click moves all day. So he fires off the Shadow Ball. He does knock down my special defense, which is really unfortunate. Now I can't really stall this thing out as well as effectively since I'm at 47, and I still need this thing for Heat Ran. So I'm going to switch out, go to Articuno. Articuno can take pretty good hits from Jellicent here. As I can fire off a Freeze Dry. I wanted to go for HP Ground, but I just couldn't pull the trigger on it. It'd be really useless. This does nothing to Heat Ran. He's not Leftover, so he's definitely... Oh, he was Air Balloon, duh. As he does get up his rocks on my switch-in into Manaphy, so now Articuno's switch-ins are limited. So, oh wait, did I mention that Heat Ran had rocks? I forgot if I mentioned that, but it does. Wait, does he still have... Hold on a minute, guys. Okay, I don't know why. I completely missed the Heat Ran having rocks. I don't know why I missed it. I missed Heat Ran and Crook had rocks. Wow, I suck. But this is fine with Manaphy and against Heat Ran. This is good. He goes back on the Jellicent. This is fine. As I set up my Aqua Ring to get back up my health again. I've used Aqua Ring 3 times in this game. As he does not know I have Shadow Ball as that last move, I am going to reveal it now to get some nice damage on this Jellicent, as it does do 34%. It's a bulky Jellicent, but that's fine. If I have to trade Jellicent for Manaphy, that is completely fine, because my offense does really good against Heat Ran. It's just my defense doesn't really exist. And Araquanid is already poisoned, so that's pretty cool. I do fire off another Shadow Ball, and he's not going to recover stall me out here because he is in a losing battle. I am really low in health now, but at this point, Jellicent goes down to basically anything. So I'm going to click Shadow Ball one more time, and Jellicent goes down. And that was good, because Jellicent's a little more annoying than Araquanid because it gets recover. But in this case, it works out. He goes into Tapu Koko, as I just go right back into Excadrill every time. He's probably going to U-turn, but I think he goes for Grass Knot. He does go for Grass Knot. And this turn, he goes into Araquanid. I summon Iron Head. I go for Iron Head. I thought I summoned SD, but I went for Iron Head because an Iron Head into a Rock Slide kills this Araquanid. Latios can't switch in because it dies, and nothing wants to switch in, basically. So, he doesn't know I have Rock Slide. I fire it off, I hit the move, and Araquanid goes down. So both his bulky waters are down, and Manaphy is looking good to be a good sack here at this point because it's only good for Heat Ran. He goes into his Latios, and now here I make a misplay, I will openly admit. Heat Ran beats... No, Excadrill beats Heat Ran. It beats Tapu Koko. I have a way to deal with Hawlucha, and I have good ways to deal with Latios in the Klefki. Now, the reason I don't switch here. I could switch into Articuno because rocks were up, and everything else was pretty valuable. That's why I decided to stay in here and go for Iron Head, as he does fire off an Earthquake and knock me out. Now, this kind of sucks because now my Tapu Koko switch-in is not there. He has Grass Knot. So I didn't really think that through at the time, and it was really bad play on my part. So that's why I did that. I can go into Klefki. I do live the Earthquake, as he does go into Heat Ran. Heat Ran can live any hit. I just go for Dazzling Gleam. But here's a good time to sack off my Manaphy here, because Manaphy is only good for the Heat Ran, and it gives me a free switch into whatever, as Manaphy is going to go down here. And I can go into Gallade. And now this was a good switch in for me because he's not going to bring in Hawlucha because he's probably an Electric Seed Hawlucha at this point. And Drain Punch into Shadow Sneak knocks out both his other 2 Mons, I believe. So that's why I decided to do this play. Drain Punch I think is a roll to kill Heat Ran, but he's not going to risk that because, duh. As I'm going to Mega Evolve, and I'm just going to click Drain Punch. It does a lot to this Tapu Koko here, as I'm going to Mega Evolve. So I am Adamant Nature. It does 37%. And... again, I have Shadow Sneak, and I'm going to go for it. He's not going to expect it probably. If he pulled a double in the Hawlucha, that would be pretty nice, but that would be kind of some whack play. As I do fire off Shadow Sneak, and Tapu Koko does go down, and that really takes the pressure off of Excadrill, because without Excadrill, Tapu Koko is a threat, but since Tapu Koko is gone now, I dealt with it very well. Here, I had a hard decision to make. Rocks are still up, so I have to be weary of that. Hippowdon is my switch into Hawlucha, but he does still have the Heatran and the Latios. So my goal here is to go into Hippowdon and Whirlwind them out. Or I could go into Klefki and try and paralyze it. And this was the moment of truth I was thinking, because Hippowdon's still really important for that Heatran. But Klefki is still important for that Latios. So I'm thinking, which one is least useful? And I'm thinking Hippowdon is slightly least useful because Gallade really does a number to it. So I'm going to switch out. He is Electric Seed. Go to Hippowdon. And he sets up, get my hand up. He sets up a substitute. So I made a really, really good play here. As if I went into Klefki and he set up that sub, granted, I could have Dazzling Gleam, but then the game would have been basically over at that point. So I'm glad I went into Hippowdon, so now I can just freely Whirlwind. He's not set up. It'll get rid of his defense boost, as he's going to Toxic. He does miss, which is kind of unfortunate. But as you see, I do Whirlwind him into Latios, which kind of sucks. I would have preferred the Heatran, but whatever. As here, I don't really need Heatran. I don't need Hippowdon now that Hawlucha's Burden Boost is gone. Choice Scarf Articuno outspeeds it, so that was kind of the thought process I had going through it. So I'm just going to fire off a Toxic. Hopefully he does have Sub, which he doesn't. Now this Latios is a little less threatening. Sand and Toxic Chip is always nice against him, as he's going to fire off a second Psychic and knock out my Hippowdon. I decided to leave Klefki a little bit healthy because that's now my switch into Hawlucha if I need to switch into it. As I'm going to go into Gallade here, I just click Shadow Sneak. Let me see. So I click Shadow Sneak and he does stay in, which is really fortunate for me. He goes into Hawlucha here. Acrobatics is a one-shot, and now this is another really, really big turn. If I go into Klefki and he sets up an SD, it's a roll with HJK to knock me out. But if he goes for Acrobatics on my Klefki switch in, that's really good. I could defog the Rock's Way. Articuno can take any hit from non-boosted Hawlucha. So it's really, really tough right now. I'm switching to Klefki 100%, but it's just the thought of, is this thing going to set up an SD and have... Well, let me think. He's got Subtoxic SD... SD HJK. Well, then okay. Well, it's okay. He's got 4 moveset syndrome here. I didn't even notice in the battle actually. But I'm gonna switch out on the Klefki here, as he does go for Substitute. As I do have the Dazzling Gleam, I can get Leftovers Recovery, and that's good because now I'm out of range of +2 guaranteed. He goes for HJK. Oh no! It wasn't a +2 HJK. It was a I remember now. It was the thing I was scared of was HJK was a roll in general. In my favor, to be fair. Really good in my favor. But if he set up a substitute... Wait, what happened? Oh, what the heck? Oh, I just switched battles. Oh, that's actually really sad. Sorry, guys. I don't know what happened there. Oh, man, that sucks. Holy crap. We're going to go back to... What turn were we at? I don't remember what turn we were at, guys. Oh, my God. At least 20. No, let's go to turn. Yeah, right around here. Next turn. Yeah, the thing I was scared of was HJK killing me, because if he went for HJK, I could T-Wave the following turn. If he went for sub, I could Dazzling Gleam, break that sub, and get Articuno in for free. Then it came down to 50-50s again. That's what it was. So, Shadow Sneak there. And so I go to Klefki here. I do take rocks damage. He goes for the substitute. I don't know why that went back to the other battle. I apologize, guys. But, yeah, I lived the hit, and I fire off a Dazzling Gleam to make sure this thing's sub is broken. And he's starting to be in Shadow Sneak range. That's the thing I'm also kind of thinking of as well. He switches into Heatran, who can take the hit. I go for the T-Wave, so now this Heatran is paralyzed. Not that it really matters. Now here I can defog the Rock's Way so Articuno can live any hit from Hawlucha. He does get paralyzed, which is unfortunate, as I am going to Dazzling Gleam again. And if he's a really defensive Heatran, that paralyze actually kind of matters, because that's only if he's defensive, because Drain Punch is doing like 80 to 96. So if he was at 86%, it was a roll, but if he's at 80, it's no roll at this point. So I'm just going to fire off a Drain Punch. He can't switch into Hawlucha at this point. And his Drain Punch just nukes his Heat Ran. And at this point, I should have the game run unless I choke. I'm going to go for Shadow Sneak so he can't set up a substitute. As he goes for Acrobatics and nukes his Glade, but I am Choice Scarf Articuno. I can't take any hit regardless, but I'm Choice Scarf, so I'm going to outspeed. And we're going to beat this Hawlucha, and we win this game 1-0. This game was awesome, guys. I thought this game was great, to be honest. I think Trey played really well. I think I played really well with this Articuno, preserving the Scarf till the end. So that's pretty good. And we move up to a 2-0 record. We win 1-0, so we're at +6 differential. So I think we're doing really good in this league so far. So yeah, took on Banderita, I think that's how you say it. Banderita FC, coached by Banderita. So that was that. I do have my notes, as I mentioned earlier in the stream. So I'm going to sound a little more consistent with my narration. Not that consistent, but a little bit more. I just ate some like salty snacks, so like I don't know what I'm doing with my life right now. So my voice is going to be even worse by the end of this. But our Week 3 opponent, Banderita, had a very stally team. The stalliest possible team I have ever seen in draft. Like, you go on OU ladder, that's his team. OU ladder with, like, stall. That's his team he has. His team is Mega Sableye, Toxapex, Ferrothorn, Gyarados, Z-Moves, Togekiss, Blissey, Alola Marowak, Alola Momola, Honchkrow, Z-Moves, Quagsire, Moltres, and Grumpig. Now, yeah, that's stall. His compared to Sergio and his staller team, his offensive presence is borderline non-existent. He's got Gyarados who can, Togekiss can be, and Honchkrow to an extent, and Moltres, but they're all lower tiers. Now, there's one thing I noticed about him. For his first Week 1 and 2 battles, he brought the exact team and basically the same sets. Something similar to like what Black Jesus did back in the Ocean League when he brought the same team over and over again. And that's why I exploited that in the quarterfinal battle. A nice little plug there. So I prepped more for the 6 mons he was going to bring. The 6 mons he had brought Week 1 and 2 was Mega Sableye, Toxapex, Ferrothorn, Gyarados, with Flanium Z, Quagsire, and Blissey. That was the 6 mons I was expecting him to bring, and that's kind of what I built around. I was pretty confident that this was the mons he was going to be bringing. So I tried to build around that. So my first thought was Excadrill basically just beats this team every day of the week. But I wanted to have a little more fun with this team and try and win another way. So my win con for this week isn't actually Excadrill. It's Manaphy. And now you're looking at this, it's like, hold on a second. You see this Manaphy here. There's a Blissey on his team. I'll get to it. So first off, we have Excadrill. Excadrill is running the leftovers with Mold Breaker, Stealth Rock, Toxic, Earthquake, Rapid Spin. This weird investment that I don't really remember what exactly put that in. I think there were some certain rules I was trying to peak with. 200 speed was for Gyarados, so I could outspeed that thing and get like a if I need to like revenge it or whatever. I don't know why exactly I put the speed on it. I originally had Rock Slide on the set, that's why. But this is mainly here for Mega Sableye. I don't care if I get burned because Stealth Rock and Toxic go through his Magic Bounce. And Rocks against this team is really good because his removal doesn't exist, basically. They're all Defoggers that are weak to Rocks. And again, I'm really expecting him to bring the 6 mons that I mentioned. So I had to plan get up Rocks turn 1 and Toxic Mega Sableye and then switch into Sableye as many times as I can. Even though it would be kind of a stall fest, I would end up winning in the end probably since I do have leftovers. And his only attacking move is Knockoff. Again, reiterating, I heavily built this team based on the fact that he's bought the same 6 team. Yeah, I'll just go over it real quick. Mega Sableye is like Will-O-Wisps, Recover, Knockoff, and not Shadow Ball, but like something else, Protect or something like that. Pex with Toxic Spike, Scald, Recover, and a 4th move. Ferrothorn with Spike, Gyro Ball, Power Whip, and Seed, standard set, I think. Gyarados to Dragon Dance, Bounce, Waterfall, and Earthquake. I remember that like the back of my hand with Flanium Z. Blissey with Seismic Toss, Wish, Toxic, and Heal Bell or Protect. I forget which one it was. I think it was Heal Bell. And Quagsire, just, Quagsire set. So that's what I built around. So this is what the Excadrill was there for the Mega Sableye mainly, and for Toxapex if it was low. Yeah. Mega Glade to next with Swords Dance, CC, Thunder Punch, Leaf Blade, max attack, 204 speed with the Adamant Nature, my bad. Because his max speed was 90 speed, so that's all I needed to really creep. This thing really beat down his team outside of Mega Sableye. Mega Sableye, understandably, is the best Mega Glade counter, but I have Excadrill right here to at least whittle that thing down a bit, and I'll go into my team a little bit later as how I deal with Mega Sableye. But outside of Mega Sableye, this Mega Glade goes in on his team. The ones he's going to bring: Thunder Punch, gone Gyarados, Leaf Blade, Quagsire is gone, CC, Ferrothorn. I do have the boost for the Toxapex and hope that I don't get burned, but if I'm not going to try and set up on the Toxapex itself, but if I'm at like +2 or even if +2 if he's Spadef Toxapex, +4 if he's physical Toxapex. So that beats his team. It beats his team really hard, so that's why I decided to run this type of Glade set. Next up, we got Electros. I didn't actually have this originally on the team. Well, I did, but like when I was skimming the team, I didn't think Electros would stand out, but it does because Volt Switch, Flamethrower, Drain Punch, Giga Drain with Expert Belt, and this investment. This outspeeds something. No, this, for some reason, I had this creeping like a no-speed Gyarados for whatever reason. But Volt Switch is really good to pivot around his team. He only has Quagsire to take that, and Giga Drain just kind of like nukes it. Flamethrower nukes the Ferrothorn. Even if he does live, what's Ferrothorn going to do back to me? It's a Ferrothorn. And Drain Punch, this was really cool. I put this investment, I know I have 3 special attacks and 1 physical attack, but this investment makes it that Drain Punch is borderline like a 2-ko on a Blissey. It's a 2-ko on a Blissey after rocks. So that's what it was. And if he's going to have Wish Protect or like Just Wish, he can't beat that. And if he's going to bring like Soft Boiled, then eventually I'll take advantage of that at one point. So that was a nice little calc I liked on this Electros. Here's a more interesting set. We got Tail Glow, 3 attacks, Surf Psychic, Hidden Power Fire with Walterium Z. Now you're thinking, he's got Quagsire with Unaware. Walterium Z it's a roll, and I mean Quagsire can't touch me back, but it's a roll. So I can Tail Glow, and the only thing that stops this set after, unless I get poisoned, is Haze on Toxapex. And I could set up on Blissey, possibly. I forget. No, I can't set up. Blissey's going to be the switch-in. So I get it to +3, and if Quagsire is down, I will Walterium Z it and nuke it. And I can just get to +3 again. I'll be at +6, and then Surf is a 2-shot, I believe. Like an easy 2-shot. And once I get past the Blissey, everything dies. Sableye just dies. This is set up this sets up on Sableye as well, I believe. This sets up on Gyarados after he's busted his Flynium Z. And it sets up on Quagsire, essentially. So I had Energy Ball, but I needed these 2 coverage for Toxapex and Ferrothorn, respectively. I don't think he'll see the HP Fire coming, since I would probably need the Energy Ball. But yeah, this kind of goes house on his team if I can get past the Blissey or avoid being Toxic Poisoned at all costs. Next, we got Klefki. Klefki is a Choice Scarf set with max HP, max defense with a Relaxed Nature, Spikes, D-Gleam, Switcheroo, and T-Wave. If I can switch, he's not going to switch into Sableye on this Klefki, so I can Switcheroo any of his walls, and that would be pretty good for me. The one thing I am a little scared of is Gyarados switching in, because Gyarados can be a switch into Klefki. I know Gyarados doesn't want to take any status, but I can't really hit it back for much, so I could see that being a potential switch in, which would scare me a bit. But tricking a Choice Scarf onto any of his walls would be absolutely amazing. And then setting up Spikes after that would be really nice. Basically, this deters Sableye from coming in, because Dazzling Gleam does a hefty chunk to it. And I can set up Spikes on anything else on his team. So, yeah, I know I get walled by Ferrothorn and Toxapex, but Switcheroo is nice for those, and Spike's setup is always nice for those as well. Lastly, we got Celebi. We have Celebi with a Colbur Berry, 240 HP, 156 attack, 104 speed with Timid Nature, Nasty Plot Sub, Giga Drain, Hidden Power Fire. This is if Manaphy doesn't work out, I have to set up. This can set up on Mega Sableye with the Colbur Berry knockoff, as I can sub Nasty Plot and then start Giga Draining away. So that's kind of the plan here. I can't do too much of I can't do like anything in Toxapex without boosts, but he would probably be under the assumption I have a Psychic type move, so that's probably what Celebi is there for. This is a less reliable setup mon, so yeah. I almost forgot I was streaming. I actually thought I was recording an actual video. Nuts. But that is the team we are bringing. I'm feeling a little indifferent because I'm not bringing a Excadrill set I would like to bring, but Mold Breaker against Magic Bounce Sableye, like, come on, I can't resist that. So that was our Week 3 team we were bringing. He did bring the 6 mons I was expecting in Mega Sableye, Ferrothorn, Blissey, Toxapex, Quagsire, and Gyarados. So yeah, let's see here. Now, by the way, guys, this you see where that like Mega Gallade thing is? I was gonna have a face cam there, but I'm one, again, sick a bit, and two, it was just too complicated because I like to use my phone. I've been looking at my phone a few times on stream here, so I just needed it, and that would have been my face cam, so that's why you just see the Gallade there for now. But if I ever stream in the future, you'll probably see a face cam there, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, he brought the same Stall Lake team I was kind of expecting him to bring, which is, you know, annoying, but it's something we can manage here. So yeah, I told myself a billion times I'm gonna lead with the Excadrill, but I actually lead off with Electros so I can Volt Switch on anything. And I had that mentality that I just want to Volt Switch out on things. I don't know why. I love to have a lead where I can switch or U-turn out on things. So Excadrill was definitely the better lead here because I had brought Excadrill for the Sableye, so that's why I did it. So I'm going to Volt Switch out, as I just said I was going to do. He does bring in Blissey, which sucks because Electros is kind of for Blissey too. I go into Klefki because I'm thinking, okay, turn 2, I'm going to switcheroo. He's not going to bring in Sableye. I don't think he's going to bring in Gyarados because Gyarados actually is a little scary for my team if I don't handle it correctly, so I do got to be a little careful of that. So I'm going to switcheroo. Sableye's not coming in. And one of his walls is going to get switcherooed on, but he brings in the damn Sableye. And I'm just mind blown that he brought in Sableye, especially because it wasn't even Mega Evolved. I think Dazzling Gleam pre-Mega Evolved is well over half. He's got to be, like, specially defensive. Or he just predicted the switcheroo. Like, that's just amazing on his part. So, good on him for that. I believe I switch out here, obviously. I go into Excadrill as this was supposed to be our turn 1 right here. As he fires off a Will-O-Wisp, and I don't mind this because it's not really offensive. I'm just going to get up my Rocks, I believe, now, as he does switch in directly into the Gyarados, which is, you know, smart play on him. But Rocks are here to stay because he's got no Defogger, unless I defog Rocks on my own if Ferrothorn gets them up. But Rocks don't really hurt my team, so it's not that big of a deal. Rocks hurt his team a lot more. As I am going to switch out here into the Klefki, as I didn't want to go right into Celebi, as he's going to Waterfall. It does a decent chunk. That is a Discord notification somewhere. As he does go for Earthquake, I just Decleam because I was paranoid that I was going to lock myself into T-Wave as, like, Sableye came in. That play threw me off. I was really I thought that Sableye was coming right back out, and I didn't want to give it a free switch in, even though the Rocks are up. So that was kind of a misplay on my part to go for Decleam on this thing. So this thing is still a little bit annoying, though it is chipped down to 76, which is kind of nice. So here, I'm going to go into Celebi. I know I can take the Waterfall, and I do have Substitute on the set. And he's going to fire up the Flying Name Z. I know it's coming, so I'm going to set us up to take that hit, as he is going to power up the Z move. So good predictions on my part. And now I can set up another Substitute, as I believe that's what I do, as he does go into Ferrothorn. So yeah, I set us up here, and I'm deciding here, I'm just going to set up a Nasty Plot, because if he's defensive, I knock him out with HP Fire. If he's Spadef, then I don't. Actually, I don't think I even knock him out, to be honest. I think I wanted this Ferrothorn low because if Ferrothorn's gone, it makes Manaphy a little bit more useful. So because I can like bluff that Energy Ball. I don't remember my thought process completely, if I'm gonna be honest here. But I'm gonna fire off an HP Fire, and it does 75%. And Gyro Ball's gonna knock out my Celebi. So to be honest, we're at turn 11, and we're kind of in the back foot. To be honest, I don't really like the position we're in, considering I couldn't get that switcheroo off. If I was able to get that switcheroo off, I'd be a lot more comfortable, but I'm not. Luckily, Rocks are up on his side of the field, as I am going to go into the Electros now. And Electros is really good against his team, looking at it more and more now. The only thing that gets really walled by is the Sableye. And, you know, go figure him. He goes into Blissey here, as I go for the Flamethrower. As it's going to do a decent chunk, but here's where this nice tech, he gets burned, but he's got Natural Cure. This nice tech Drain Punch is going to come out here. So I'm going to fire off a Drain Punch. It does 53%. I'm just like, oh my lord. He can't stay in here unless he has Protect. As I'm going to fire off a Volt Switch, and I thought, oh. I suck. Alright, turn 12, right? Or let's go to 11. Next turn. Oh, okay, so, man, I suck. Anyway, I fire off the Drain Punch, and I'm thinking, I kind of misplay, because there's no way he's going to stay in, unless he has Protect, and at least that way, if I Volt Switching, I can Scout if he's going to switch into anything, and if he switches into Quagsire, just Giga Drain the next turn. So, but he actually stays in as I Volt Switch. So that was a really big, kind of a misplay on my part, even though that was kind of like a weird play on his part. I was just going to Klefki as he Soft Boils, and that threw me for a loop. He's Wish Soft Boiled. And I'm thinking, okay, so he's Wish Soft Boiled, Seismic Toss, Toxic? Because, like, I don't know. I honestly just don't know. He had Wish and Soft Boiled. He definitely doesn't have Protect, I can tell you that. But I go into Klefki, and then I go right back on to Electros as he goes to Sableye. Good plays on his. He keeps bringing in Sableye on Klefki, but it's working out for him. I'm just going to Volt Switch, and I'm going to go out into Excadrill, because Excadrill is pretty good against the Sableye. As he goes for Will-O-Wisp, it misses, but doesn't matter. I go for Toxic as it goes to Rule Breaker, and that's really, really nice, because now this thing's on the timer. It's a lot less annoying for my team, so that's really cool. As he goes into Blissey here, as I believe I just fire off an Earthquake. Or I double Toxic, expecting that. That's what it was. I expected the Blissey to come out. I think it was, yeah. I expected the Blissey to come out, so I went for Toxic. I'm thinking, I can just fire off an Earthquake, forcing this thing to take a few rounds of Toxic's always nice. As it's not doing much. I get a crit, which is nice. As he goes for Wish here, I'm just going to keep firing Earthquake, because I know this thing can't really beat me down. And this thing, I fire off Toxic, expecting the switch. He goes for Heal Bell, and he's got Wish, Soft Boiled, Heal Bell. I'm just like, what in the world is this? So he doesn't either have Toxic or Seismic Toss. And this is really good, because then Manaphy really can set up on this thing. If he's got... Sorry, you guys can hear that in my background. My mom's watching some video, and she's kind of out of it. If he's got Seismic Toss, then it's set up fodder for Manaphy. If he's got Toxic, then he can't touch Klefki, and keeping around Klefki would be good for this thing. So I gotta keep that in mind. As this turn, I forget what I do this turn. I don't remember. Sorry, she keeps screaming. It's really annoying. I go for Toxic, and then I believe I'm gonna switch out this turn. Yeah, that's what it was. Force this thing to either Heal Bell or switch out. Yeah, I know. I hate Blissey so much, dude. I go to Electros, because Electros is really nice for this Blissey, as he is gonna switch out into Ferrothorn. It's annoying because he does get this Wish, but it's fine because I'm in with Electros. As he's going to go right back out into the Sableye. I do go for Flamethrower, and unfortunately I do burn this thing, which kind of sucks because I want this thing poisoned. But here I can Volt Switch out. He is kind of chipped out, and I can go into my Manaphy, and this is where I'm thinking I'm just going to start setting up, because Sableye is good setup fodder for my Manaphy, as well as that Blissey. Blissey is at high health, which is unfortunate, but, you know, whatever. Ferrothorn, again, is HP Fire at +3. So here, I'm just going to set up a Tail Glow. I'm going to go for it. I know he doesn't have Toxic. He goes into the Ferrothorn, and that's great. I set up a Tail Glow. I'm surprised about this Ferrothorn with the HP Fire, and this Ferrothorn gets blown back. So that is awesome. He goes into Blissey here, and this is the moment of truth if he's got Seismic Toss or Toxic. I really think he's going to have Seismic Toss, because there's no way you run no attacking Blissey. That's just cancer. So I'm just going to set up another Tail Glow, and if I can set up a second Tail Glow and he doesn't have Toxic, I basically just win the game. So I'm going to set it up here, hoping he doesn't have the Toxic, and he goes for the S-Toss, and that's great, because now I can just start nuking things. I go for Surf, it does 57% to this Blissey. Like I said, I'm saving the Z move for the Quagsire, and something's got to switch in here. Toxapex is going to switch in. This is a defensive Toxapex, because it takes 66%. It is absolutely nuts. I'm going to slow it down a bit here. As Toxapex just dies. Toxapex dies. That was 2 Surfs. That is nuts. Going to Quag. He goes into Quagsire here. Now, if he's defensive, this Waterium Z Okos it. If he's Spadef, it's a roll. I'm going to fire off the Waterium Z here. If he gets Recover, it's going to be a little annoying. And he lives on 2%. That sucks, because he is going to get the Toxic off, and that is really unfortunate, because I am at 45%, so I'm not going to be able to clean up the game. But I'm going to fire off a Surf, and this Quagsire goes down as well. So I am breaking his team down pretty effectively with this Manaphy, which is really awesome. And Blissey can't come in and take a Surf. I'm faster than Gyarados. He's going to go into Blissey here. And I'm going to fire off a Surf if Blissey dies. And I basically have one more attack left in me. So he's going to choose whether Gyarados or Mega Sableye goes down. The smarter part on his play would have Gyarados go down, because Mega Sableye can still kind of wall the rest of my team almost, because Manaphy would be dead. He can't really touch me back, but you'll see here he is going to make the smart play and go into the Gyarados. Take that Rocks damage. I'm just going to fire up a Surf because I know it kills at this point. And Gyarados is down. And Manaphy is going to go down to Toxic, but he is down to just his Mega Sableye. And I'm thinking, I can just go... He doesn't have Shadow Ball in this thing, so I can just go up to +6 on Glade and just win that way. As I'm going to go to Glade and do it. I want to give Glade the kill. He has Rocks. And at this point, it should be over unless he does have the Shadow Ball for whatever reason. I don't Mega Evolve for like whatever reason. I've thought Mega Evolution in this league is not first turn, which is all right, I guess. It's I like first turn Mega, but it's not like a big deal. I was thinking like justified boost, but I'm going up to +6 anyway, so it doesn't matter. As I'm gonna Mega Evolve here after I take this one more time. I don't know why. As I'm at +6, but I'm essentially +3 after the burn. And +3 Leaf Blade should be doing around half, and same with Thunder Punch. So I'm going to start firing off the Leaf Blades here. And one of them is going to crit because Leaf Blade's got a high crit ratio. And I'm doing 53%, so I'm doing right around half. So basically, I just need one crit to break through this thing and win the game. As I do 61% high roll that time around. And this thing is going to die at some point. He can't recover stall me out. It's GG at this point. If he had Shadow Ball, he would have clicked it by now. My screen is touchscreen. And that keeps happening. But yeah, he's down to his last life. And we are going to Leaf Blade this Mega Sableye into Oblivion this turn. I believe this is the last turn. And Mega Sableye goes down. And we go up to a 3-0 record in the APM. That's nuts. Considering in every league I'm in, I usually choke my game 3. I don't know why. His team is Mega Charizard X, Celesteela Z moves, Tapu Boulan, Milotic, Starmie, Nidoqueen, Gardevoir, Lycanroc Dusk, Gligar, Kecleon with Z moves, Avalog, and Dedenne. This is hard, guys. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. The best Pokemon that had a matchup against him was this Electros, which I'm gonna go over. I brought Electros, Excadrill, Salazzle, Hippowdon, Manaphy, and the Celebi here. I didn't really know I can't offensively build around the Electros because it only do so much offensively. So I did build around this Manaphy in the end, even though I wasn't really confident with it. I do have Excadrill as a thing, but Celesteela is possibly the best Excadrill switch in, if not Skarmory. I think Skarmory's a little bit better. Celesteela, because Celesteela can actually hit Skarmory back. Celesteela can hit Excadrill back. I don't know. They're both very, really annoying for Excadrill, so that's why it was a really, really hard matchup. But I'm not really feeling confident going to this, but we're gonna do it anyway. I brought Electros because Electros actually breaks down his defensive core pretty nicely, as Celesteela and his two bulky waters, Milotic and quote-quote bulky and Starmie. It's not that bulky. Volt Switch is really free against all of them, and Nidoqueen is the only thing that can take a Volt Switch. And since I do have Levitate and I'm Assault Vest with a decent amount of bulk, I can take Sludge Waves pretty well, especially if he is a defensive set, and I can HP Ice it. And since Nidoqueen thankfully doesn't get reliable recovery, chipping that thing down is always nice. And HP Ice for the Gligar as well. Gligar can't really touch me outside of Toxic. So that was the Electros goal. Was a really, really important defensive mod to kind of Volt Switch around. I put Flash Cannon for the off chance I call it Tapu Bulu or Gardevoir switching in, but I didn't really see it happening. We have Excadrill here with Expert Belt, Stealth Rock, Spin, Iron Head, Stomping Tantrum. Stomping Tantrum over Earthquake because of Tapu Bulu's, what's it called? Grassy Surge. Iron Head for the rest. Iron Head was pretty good against his team, I will say that. And Rocks were decent, though he does have Starmie as a spinner. He has Gligar for default. I can't touch Gligar either. So Excadrill just had a really matchup. I should have brought Glade looking back at it instead of Excadrill, but, whatever. Iron Head Spin was pretty good against his team. Slazzle here with Flamethrower, Sludge Bomb, Subtoxic. I wanted to run a, Protect over one of the coverage moves, but I felt like I really needed the coverage moves because Flamethrower for the Celesteela, that's what it was. I couldn't get rid of it, and Sludge Bomb was really good for everything else. Luckily, this is, quote, good for the Bulu. My Tapu Bulu switch-in actually just doesn't exist. And my Hippowdon's mode switching to Charizard, so that's also a really big problem. And you think, well, Fire-type, Salazzle's could be a switch-in, but it is frail. 68 and 60. Grassy Surge, Choice Banded, Tapu Bulu does 70% to Salazzle. That's nuts. And I'm fully expecting a Banded set, because I just don't have a switch into that. So that is really scary, but luckily Salazzle is really, really good against that. And if Nidoqueen wants to switch into it, I can at least Toxic it and put it on a timer, so that would be pretty nice. So there's that. And Grassy Surge Black Sludge is always nice to get extra recovery for my substitutes I am using. Next up, we got Hippowdon with max HP, max defense with Rocky Helmet, Sandstream. This is really to take hits from the Charizard because my Charizard switching really doesn't exist outside of this thing. It is also to make sure Lycanroc Dusk doesn't become a problem, because if Hippowdon's gone, Lycanroc Dusk kind of runs house on my team because coverage like Stomping Tantrum does really good against Excadrill, and I'm not faster unless Sand is up, and I don't want to rely on that, so there's that. Whirlwind's nice. Rock Tomb is so I can at least do damage on Celesteela. Apologies. But it's still overall a free switch into Celesteela, so that Celesteela is a problem for my Sand Core here, but luckily these two do pretty nice against it, barring Earthquake. Next up, we got Manaphy. Manaphy is my quote win con of the week with Tail Glove, Surf, Energy Ball, Hidden Power, Poison. Another set with 252-52s, because, yeah, Intimidator. This was to make sure I could probably outspeed Max Speed Charizard, because he won't run Max Speed Charizard, so, or like this Charizard at least, so, yeah. +3, I kind of run house through his team. I put the Wakanberry on there because I was really paranoid to run. I saw that comment, Jed. To run this set and get revenged by Lycanroc and Starmie, but Starmie can only revenge me with T-Bolt. So if Starmie wouldn't be a problem, and I would only rely on Lycanroc Dusk and any Scarfers. And if I could scout out his Scarfers, then I could handle them possibly accordingly. But outside of those two mons, it's pretty nice. I do have to be careful. I want to chip down Milotic a little bit because a +3 Energy Ball barely misses out on the KO if it's defensive. So I want to chip down that Milotic a bit before I go in for the sweep. But this is basically the best mon I have offensively against this team. It's like my only mon against this team. And lastly, we got Celebi. Celebi is my defensive switch into Tapu Bulu, even though it's still doing like half. It's nuts. Leech Seed, Recover, Giga Drain, U-Turn. U-Turn is a nice pivot against him for his team. This is an interesting set because this actually kind of deals with the Celesteela, believe it or not. Because Steela is weird in the sense that its only reliable recovery is Leech Seed and Leftovers. And yeah, in this case it is. I can Leech Seed the Celesteela. He can't Leech Seed me back, and I can kind of recover stall it down. So Celesteela isn't really the greatest switch into Celebi if I get Leech Seed off, and Air Slash isn't only doing so much damage, unless he's got like Flanium Z. Which, you know, he could bring. That could be a bring. Giga Drain kind of rips apart his defensive core outside of Celesteela as well, because outside of Electros, I kind of had problems against his core, so I wanted to have another grass type or something else to deal with it, so that's why I did it. And yeah, that is the team. My voice is starting to go again, even though it was going strong for a bit there. So he brought Milotic, Nidoqueen, Celesteela, Tapu Bulu, Gardevoir, and Lycanroc Dusk. He didn't bring Charizard. I was really paranoid about that Charizard and Celesteela, and he didn't bring the Charizard. So that was really cool. Manaphy is looking pretty nice in this game. I ain't gonna lie. I have to get rid of this Milotic or get it low a little bit so I can deal with it. And this Lycanroc is the only way it can really revenge me, unless it's a Scarf Bulu. And if it's a Scarf Bulu, then at least Celebi can switch into it if it's not Mega Horn. So that's always nice. Bandit, again, no switching, but if it's Scarf, then Celebi can switch on it, take the hit. And if I can get low, and +3 HP poison, like, nukes that. So, yeah. We're going to start this battle. He leads off with Milotic. I believe I did that Volt Switch thing again and led with the Electros. Yeah, I did. I thought about this play for a while because I know Nidoqueen is the freest switch in the entire world. And I almost went into Celebi because Celebi would have been a nice free switch against this Milotic. And if he were to go into Nidoqueen, I could at least U-turn back out and deal with that accordingly and get some chip on it. But no, I click Volt Switch and he goes into the Nidoqueen. So that sucks. I'm expecting rocks here, so I'm just going to click HP Ice to get some chip. And that's a crit. And that tells me he is AV Nidoqueen. That's 100% AV Nidoqueen. That's kind of good in the sense that it's doing less damage, but bad in the sense that chipping it down is going to be very annoying because, yes, I've got an Excadrill, but he's also got a Celesteela, so tough stuff. Here, he does get his rocks up. I do click HP Ice again because, you know, why not? He goes into his Tapu Bulu here, and that's pretty nice. It gives me a nice range of damage. It does 40%, and that is an offensive Bulu. And I'm like, okay, that's a little scary. I'm going to go into Celebi because it is the best switch-in I got. And I'm hoping this thing isn't banded. I can find out. He gets some health from Grassy Terrain. And this man clicks Mega Horn. I'm going to give you guys that silence there and how shook I was. That man, he made a really, 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 really good play there. Because my only remotely good, quote, quote, or average switch into Bulu was just taken out by Bulu. He is locked in the Mega Horn, but rocks are up, so I can't... going into Salazzle even punishes me now. And I can go to Excadrill, but Celesteal exists. And get up my own rocks, but I just died. So I was just like, that sucks. So I'm going to go to Salazzle here. I had to do it. He goes into a Nidoqueen. I go for the substitute because I am going to get double recovery back in Black Sludge and the Grassy Terrain, as I can fire off a Toxic. But Toxic is going to be really annoying. Oh, he was Black Sludge. Oh, man. Oh, my God. He was Black Sludge? I'm just noticing this now. I thought he was... He was very bulky then. There's no way he was... Yeah, he was a bulky set. I'm going to step sub. Toxic is going to be a little bit pointless because he does have Black Sludge and the Grassy Terrain, so it would take 2 turns to even do something. But it's still something, so at least he's not gaining much back. He's going to fire off an Earth Power. I'm going to set up one more sub because I can get a decent amount of health back because of the terrain and have this Toxic chip up a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do here. And he goes for Earth Power just to break the sub. And I'm thinking here in my mind, terrain's ending. I'm in the back by a lot. I'm thinking... a really ballsy move here would to stay in and click Flamethrower and do as much damage as I possibly could to just chip this thing down, because this Nidoqueen is a little annoying for my team. But I don't do that, and I go into Electros for the safe switch in as he brings in his Tapu Bulu. Now, that was really risky on his part, but it's going to work out because my switch in doesn't exist. I don't know if he's banded or scarfed at this point because Mega Horn was just nuking Celebi regardless. But I know he's offensive regardless because of the damage from Hidden Power Ice. So at this point, I'm like, oh, crap. I can't bring in Salazzle because of rocks. I have to sack something. So I'm going to sack off the Excadrill. And this damage shows that he is banded because I would have lived that hit if he was scarfed. Not that it really would have mattered because Celesteal could just come in. But still, I could at least got my rocks up. But he's banded. It's good to know, but it's not really helpful. Here you can just go right back out on the Nidoqueen as we're going to do rinse and repeat again. I'm in a losing battle here because he's actually going to be gaining health from the Grassy Surge. As this time I'm going to just do the sub game. I do it for Flamethrower because he switched in on it, as it's going to do a decent chunk of damage. It's really nice as he is going to break the sub here. I do have enough HP for another sub, which is nice, and Toxic is going to chip him down a bit as I'm going to set up a sub here. And... this turn, there's no point of trying to save the slot, so I'm 1 point off a sub, which is really, really, really annoying. If I had that 1 point, I would have had another turn of substitute and would have been able to get more toxic damage on this thing. So I'm just going to fire for Flamethrower and just do some damage and knock this thing out. He does not go to the top of Bulu like I hope he would, and the Salazzle goes down, so we're down 6-3. But, I say but, he's got, and his team's pretty not chipped. The only thing chipped is his Nidoqueen. Luckily, though, this forces him to choose if he sacks his Nidoqueen, and because I'm going to go to Manaphy here, right? And I'm going to set up a Tail Glow. Now, the thing that really sucks is that if I had my rocks up with Drill, Milotic would have taken the damage. And you'll see here, I'm going to accept the Tail Glow here. And I'm at +3, but +3 Energy Ball does not knock out Milotic. He is the Flame Orb set, so I'm thinking, man, if I really had my rocks up right now, Energy Ball would at least been a roll in my favor to knock out this thing. And I'm scared because I don't want to set up to... no, it wasn't that I didn't want to set up to +6. It was that... I didn't know how this Milotic was going to deal with this Manaphy. He could run Haze, Toxic... Haze or Toxic, I think. Or Dragon Tail. I don't think he'd run Dragon Tail. That's weird. But I'm thinking in my mind... I think he was going to... I forget, actually. I think he was going to run Haze. So I was going to go for Tail Glow to just maximize no wait, no, hold on. Okay, let's backtrack. I don't remember what my thought process was. Hold on, I'm gonna shut up for a minute and think. That would have revealed Haze, and that would have get okay. So I thought he had Haze. So if he hazed that second boost, he would be taking Chip from Burn to the point where I could just keep setting up until like Energy Ball killed it. That was my thought process. That's what it was. But unfortunately, he's got Toxic, and that sucks because. Think about it. I brought Wakanberry. I brought Okanberry solely for Thunderbolt on Starmie to revenge me. Starmie's not here. So Lumberry would have been the next choice. And if I had Lumberry, I would have had a +6 mana fee at 88% in front of a Milotic. And honestly, well, I'll explain in a minute. So I'm going to just start firing off moves here. As I'm going to click Energy Ball. He makes a smart move and attacks off that Nidoqueen. So I don't get completely 6-0'd, which is really nice. He's going to Celesteela. I'm thinking, oh, he's definitely going to click Protect here, as he does. I don't have much. Wait, what the heck? Oh, I apologize, guys. I don't know why it keeps doing that. That is really annoying. Lord of the... No. Oh my gosh, that's actually... Why does it do that? That's actually really annoying. Bro, okay. Okay, alright. Let's... Alright, well, you guys know where I was... You saw where I was going with that, though. Okay, yeah. Oh, perfect, too. Okay. So, yeah, here, he sacks off the Nidoqueen. I know this Celesteela is going to have Protect on it at this point. So, there's that. And he's just going to Toxic Storm me out. If I had that Lumberry, it would have been really, really nice. But, you know, whatever. It's how it is. I'm going to just click Surf here because Milotic comes in, but it's going to take a clean chunk of damage. And I'm going to just click Surf again because it knocks out the Milotic. So, something else is going to die. It is going to be the Milotic, which is really nice. But at this point, Tapu Manaphy dies here, too. So, at this point... Tapu Bulu just wins the game because Hippowdon can't really take a hit, and Electros is just too low. It just can't really take a hit either. So here he does just that and goes into his Tapu Bulin. And I'm just going to fire off a Rock Tomb because the thing, I lived on 1%, by the way. Hippowdon's an actual beast here, and he takes some nice damage. Get a crit, which is nice, and a speed drop. Now, here's the thing. I had one way to win this. It was a very, 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 very slim chance, but I had one way to win this because Electros is still 88%. With -1 speed, Electros is actually faster than Tapu Bulu. If he knocks me out here, I go in the Electros, and he doesn't realize that, and I can knock him out with Flash Cannon. I have an AV. Celesteela cannot do anything to Electros. I would have to take a hit from Lycanroc Dusk. I don't know how to take a hit from Gardevoir. If Gardevoir had Psychic, it's not going to be doing much. I think a Psychic and a... you know, whatever. It depends. Hold on. I'm going to finish out this battle first, so I'm just going to let it play. He goes into Steelo, which is a guaranteed like free switch. Instead, he doesn't stay in with the Bulu, so it doesn't really matter. And so I'm just going to start firing off Rock Tombs. Try to keep myself in this game, even though I know at this point it's basically just over. As he does set up the Seeds... I do live the Seeds, and I know I can switch in on Rocks. I'm thinking, okay, I can switch in Electros here, and at least get a Volt Switch off, but of course he goes into the Tapu Bulu. I'm just like, of course, that figures. And now it's definitely over, because I can't live this hit. I'm just going to sack off to Hippowdon to get some Rocky chip damage, and for the off chance I do live a hit, I can Flash Cannon it, but at that point, this game is over. Spoiler alert, we are going to lose this game. We're going to lose 4-0, 0-4. So we go to a 3-1 record. Again, our matchup was really bad, but I don't want to take anything away from the Beardy Dragon. I think he played really, really well with his doubles. He told me after the battle he was Scarf Gardevoir, so the way Manaphy's sweep would have stopped was he would have had to sack either Gardevoir or Lycanroc, most likely, but... It depends. Like one of these two would have died in order to attack me, because Stone Edge into whatever move Gardevoir clicks probably knocks out my Manaphy. So that's how the Manaphy sweep would have stopped. But yet again, my differential would have been better, way better probably actually. And he wouldn't have had this. And if for whatever reason he did stay in and I was able to get rid of that Tapu Bulu, I would have had and that whole situation with the Lumberry, I possibly could have won that game. But that was bad prep on my Lumberry part and just a bad matchup in general. But again, I think the doubles he pulled with this Tapu Bulu, he played really aggressively with it. I think it worked out in his favor. But thank you all for coming to the stream. I'll be streaming again pretty soon. That's all I got for you guys. Thank you for coming. I will see you next time. Yeah.